Hey there, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Bulls versus Bears, episode 103, Jam-packed January. That's an understatement.
Should be
JT, welcome.
overflowing though. Oh, and welcome everybody. Yeah, but it's actually overflowing. Like I think what's that phrase? There's decades where nothing happens, and there's
And
weeks
then
where
and then Trump does a decade in 3 weeks.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we've been trumped. I think, Kai and I. It was a shortened podcast last week because Kai and I were exhausted, and I've got to say, I'm twice as exhausted this week because yesterday was a great example. On Thursday, we're sitting here. It's 8:30. I'm about to do the morning podcast. Blah blah blah. And I was just running, and every day I've been running late because there's just something's just popped up, or there's an earnings, or Trump makes an announcement. And it's like, so it's just been impossible to keep on top of things. And then we turn around, like we didn't watch the market because we were waiting for the ASX to open, and like gold rallies $400 to 5,600. Like in the half an hour we were barely watching, and we went, geez, what the hell? And you spotted it just before the market opened, and I'm like. So that was, to put it in context, it rallied an Nvidia in like half an hour, and then at one stage it gave it all back last night, or not just Nvidia. It was it gave away the entire value of every Bitcoin in the world in half an hour last night when it retraced.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
insane.
yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, like we've been trading markets for a long time, and as always, the market can always surprise you, even though you've been doing this a while. And one thing I did note. Obviously some of the Twitter guys that I follow. We in this month we've had three Six Sigma events. We had a Six Sigma event on the JGBs. There was a Six Sigma event on silver and a Six Sigma event on gold. And these aren't small cap stocks. When
Yeah, these are like the major things in the world, like the
exactly.
major assets of the world, like. And like to give, so if you're not a maths nerd, so I had to get Kai to explain this to me. Like Six Sigma is like the 1% of the 1%. So
Mhm.
like it's a 1 cent. So we've had three 1 cent a generation moves. Would you say this week or this month?
I think, well, the way I was explained, a Six Sigma event is one in 10,000 years. Like, see how we always talk
Oh
about a one
Christ!
in 100 year event, which
Yeah.
is like I think a Four or a Five Sigma event. We had a Six, which is one in 10,000. So it seems to be, these one in a lifetime or generation moves seem to be happening every day now. Like it's the
Well,
volatility
and
is insane.
like I said, and it's exhausting. Like
Hmm.
so because we've got clients ring up and they're going, like what's Trump, you know, what's Trump announced, and I'm just responding like, you're going to have to be more specific on time frame there, because are you talking the small? When was the last time you read a newspaper? Because if it wasn't an hour ago, you're out of the loop.
Yeah.
Like so, I put a little extra slide in here to show you some market caps.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so silver has just passed Nvidia in terms of market cap, and that's okay. So and it's been to 120. So
Yeah,
and
because
gold's and
I think that graphic was from like 2 days ago. Like
yeah, no,
when it went from 100 to 108. Like it's gone from
we were
108 to 120.
celebrating. Yeah, we were celebrating it going through 5,000, and like that was like Tuesday, and then we was like it's 5,600. Oh my god! And then silver's just beat the Nasdaq as well. So for all of you haters out there, that we're getting on my back about being on silver and not being on the AI rally. I'd just like to bring your attention to Exhibit A or Exhibit B. Exhibit. Haha, I was right. But anyway, enough gloating. We're out of spot silver now. Actually, as of this
Hmm.
week, and we went to silver miners.
Yep.
Which I mean hasn't been the greatest of starts, but I mean we can probably cry into our silver profits. And yeah, I mean who knows what ends up happening with this now? I mean kind of comfortable still being a bit long, but we switched Newmont to a little bit of the Aussie tech today in the morning. And to give a bit of an idea on how volatile it is at the moment, we sold Newmont down 2% on the day or thereabouts. It's now down 8%. And we bought Aussie Tech, which has been under the pump, and it's now up. I like being right, but I also know when I'm lucky as well. So
it's the same thing like this month. Like basically that all changed, maybe 2 or 3 hours ago. The market wasn't doing much, and then I looked up on my screen. I was at lunch at the time, and I was like, oh, this market just kind of just dropped 40 points quite quickly, and all the miners just got sold off. So the volatility in the spot price has translated into the miners, and I think people are just taking profit before the end of the month. I mean, like it is last day of Jampacked January. And so if as you said, like when you did the outlook for 2026, your target on gold was 5,500,
and people were laughing. They were like, "Don't be ridiculous! It's the 30th of January. Like I'm gonna have to run another outlook."
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is like, so that's your year end target. We're there a little bit early, so let's bank some profits, and so great call there, and just rolling into some miners there. So I guess the thinking behind that is that let's just say silver pulls back to $90, and gold gets back under 5,000. Those are still very high levels for these silver miners and gold miners. So. Yeah, I think when
I think that the overreaction in the gold miners and the silver is like, they're getting walloped because they're lagging massively, and these guys if you were a silver miner making money anytime before the middle of last year, you're making 300% more now, and there's not the inflation at all it's not eating your margins that badly. I mean, it'll just take some time to sort itself out. Is the way of things.
Yeah, and also let's just say you are an actual silver producer, and you see triple-digit silver, why wouldn't you sell some futures and lock in some guaranteed profits? So to speak, obviously, a lot of gold miners did get hit, when gold was trading 2,400, and they put hedges on. But the thing is, sometimes these hedges do work out. So let's just say, you hedge it at, let's say you got the absolute top at 120, and it keeps roaring to 140, but it's like, hang on, I've locked in guaranteed profits on my production, so it's always about shareholder value and just being prudent financially. So I would totally understand, like if you've got your ASIC at 20s and 30s, and in the case of some of these miners where silver is an actual byproduct, why not lock in $100 silver?
Well, I mean, or you could just
and I'm not saying you have to lock in everything. But just lock in, say 10%.
Lock in your running costs or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But or you could be like Newmont and just let it ride. They've since 2010 they've had a policy of no hedge ever. And they've made it. It's a very public pledge that they just don't hedge, which is great in a bull market, but. Given that gold, silver, or precious metal markets tend to have 3-year rallies and then 13-year hibernations, that may come to bite them in the rear end at some juncture. Exactly. I would imagine, but
I mean, I've been doing this a while, and this time feels a little bit different. But the last few times where gold's gone on a good run or silver's gone on a good run, it absolutely does get smashed along with it. So, I've been kind of cautious this market, and I can just see these equities being a little bit frothy. let's just say this equity market does get hit. Unfortunately, that whole store of value story for gold and silver miners gets thrown out the window. Like basically, in those situations, you sell what you can, not what you want, basically. So yeah, they do pull back in these. So that's why you do have to be cautious. It is volatile time, so you need to be active.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're we are. I did a chart which I'll get up when we get to the commodities part. But we'll just quickly skip with the equities.
Yep.
Sorry, the chart was originally wrong. There, I just chucked it back in. China.
Oh, it's China up 5%. Okay.
Yeah, on the week, yeah. But everything else is largely flat. So
one thing, one market that is at new highs though is Korea. So obviously, that whole thing where Trump threatened tariffs and wound them back. Obviously, the stock market liked it over there. That's actually at new highs.
My favorite. Well, you know that he put a tariff on lumber, and they actually don't export lumber. Exactly. So yeah, I think, but there's been a pretty rich history recently of if you get tariffed, your stock market goes up, right?
Yeah.
So
because it depends on who you listen to in terms of the tariffs. It's like, is it America paying for it, or is it the actual exporter paying for it? And usually ends up being the consumer, because the guys just pass on the cost to the consumers at the end.
I'm pretty sure that in nearly every case it's the consumer. Trump is just categorically in denial about that. That's it's just absurd. But yeah, there's I've just came back from the investment committee, and I've got to say, which I'm not allowed to divulge any information on.
You signed an NDA, did you?
I think they'd be really upset with me because it doesn't get released till later. But let me just say there was, it was a bit of a lesson in, when you succumb to FOMO and you buy stocks too high and don't just let it just sit it out and wait. You end up missing out on the buying opportunity when it actually comes along. So. Because it was interesting in terms of some of them come up, but you should watch it on Ausbiz. I'm going to stop talking before I give away anything and get in trouble. It's about the only thing that they ask us to not mention. So
fair enough. Just one thing I do want to note is that, like, wow, so technically all the stock markets are a buy still. So when you did that this morning, right? So. Yeah, as I said, it's
I do that every day, and it's just the average of like 17 indicators. So,
okay, I'm just saying, like the sentiment definitely did shift around midday today, especially here on the ASX.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, definitely in the ASX. But yeah, we're like one of the key things that we looked at this week is like this divergence between ASX tech and US tech. So, like, since that's a year, but since September, and that's actually worse now. It's 40% since September. It possibly could be even more. So, I did this earlier in the week, and that was where we were looking at gold. With obviously we're taking profits and things, and don't get me wrong, we've still got precious metal exposure on, not only leveraged but via structured products. But whilst we sold Newmont. We've still got silver miners and things like that, but it was like, well, now we're morbidly obese, not just overweight precious metals, and we're starting to look for diversity and 4 or 5 of the absolute just ASX stalwart market darlings are just getting flogged, like. WiseTech, Technology One, REA, Zero, Promedicus, like they are just in September, and everyone goes, "Oh, it's the rate differential." It's not the rate differential. That's just rate differential might mean 5%. Half these businesses have massive US exposure anyway, so that's just irrelevant. But I just love how every analyst just copies each other's homework and goes, "Oh, that's the reason." 40%'s a lot. So, and then we had Life 360 created like 55%. There's a couple of little market darlings like Catapult that are down 60, Temple and Webster. Like these things, people could not buy enough 50% higher, and now everyone's like running for the hills, and so we were lucky that we were over allocated in gold and we couldn't buy any on the way down, and now we're just starting to switch. So, but I don't think this is not just going to be a linear bounce. I think earnings 2 or 3 out of the 5, or 3 out of the 5 minimum will end up reporting better and bouncing. But even JB Hi-Fi, like, where did that get to? Like that thing, and I remember I was on the call with
Oh, it was like
Adam
120s or something thereabout. Yeah,
I think it may have even been more. I got to 120, and I I said at the time, like, it'll trade 70, and Adam Dawes just looked at me just like, you're a moron, and here we are at 80. So, but like, we're talking, it was a retailer that was trading in, no, it would basically have to open like 1,000 new stores in 5 new countries to justify the PE. And everyone's going, oh, but it's a great business. Well, great businesses at at 1,000 PE is still it's not a good buy. Like, and it's and our old friend Drone Shields had quite the run as well. That he $2 up to $4, back to $3, and
yeah, just volatility everywhere. So one thing I will say about the Aussie tech names is that one thing I always just joke about the ASX is that for some reason it just lags on the upside, but then when things start getting flogged, it just leads, and it's amazing that for some reason the US just gets away with it. Like they could have 100 PE stocks or triple digit PEs, and people just keep buying them. Whereas over here they're like, oh, the fundamentals do matter now, and things just get sold off.
That was one of the most eye-opening things. Is just like, it was just like, all these tech names are overpriced, and I'm like, well, hang on, when Zero was at 160 and you're all saying to buy it, the fundamentals didn't matter then. But now we're down at $90. All of a sudden, it's everyone's doing their homework. It's like, well, maybe just given it's a part of your job, do your freaking homework. It's not that it's easier than it's ever been with bloody AI. So I find it frightening. But I mean, look, US Meta smashed
this is a
week.
weekly, so and the funny thing with Meta is that it actually got sold off immediately after the actual release, but then they had a reread of the announcement, and they said, "Oh, that's actually I think it was like ad revenue was up, or I forget the exact number."
The actual normal business of Meta was awesome, but the headline, and because we watched it live here in the office, and Finn and I were in, and it just got cratered, but their top end of their capex, of all the analysts' capex range, was like 100 billion, and they gave a range of more than likely spending around 125 billion, and it's like that's with a B, 125 bill in the next year, and everyone got really concerned about that, and I got hosed, and that's all they were talking about. And then it's quite funny. They're all the Bloomberg analysts are going, Zuckerberg's done this before and it hasn't worked. And then the ticker next to them just kept on jumping, and they're still sandbagging it and looking like idiots. And all of a sudden it was up 10, and then someone just pipes up who's actually read the report and goes, "Oh no, but their normal ad revenue and this and that and yeah." But Microsoft was no hope. They were selling that whether it beat or not, I reckon, because it just got hammered from the get go.
I think obviously the problem there is they might be left holding the open AI bag, basically. Like they're like, oh, we're going to build all these data centers for this amazing new client who hasn't figured out how they're going to pay for it as well. So I think
Microsoft is definitely wearing the stench of OpenAI at the moment, which and we did warn against this in this very podcast some 6 months ago. When the market turns on you, I mean, poor old Oleg Vornik from Drone Shield, he was like, one week he's there with a drone gun, and then the next week he's like they almost put handcuffs on him for selling his shares. Like it was like the sentiment turns quickly. That's for sure.
Well, I saw an AFR headline for him. Is apparently it's there was some renovation cost blowouts, and that's why he had to sell. So
I know. Yeah, I got asked about it. Supposedly it was a tax bill, and my retort was, who cares if you like as an investor, if you're dumb enough to pay $8 billion market cap for a company that's got 100 million contracts, and the director and CEO has got options and he can sell them at a price that's stupid. I'd almost be like more concerned if he didn't sell them, like, because it's not a lack of faith in the company. It's just flatly like they were too expensive. So like it's just, it doesn't mean that, they'll be worth 8 billion one day. It's just not now.
And I think what this showed, and I keep saying this, is that the stock market, it's a popularity contest. So at the moment, or even this morning, there were different levels of sentiment in a lot of things, and everything's kind of just turned in the last few hours. So
we had to redo this.
Because
this section was really green, and this section was really red, and then now not so much. So it'd be actually interesting to see how. I'm just going to have a quick look now. It hasn't changed that. BHP recovered a little bit by the looks because we're just sort of coming into the close now. But so lithium was limit down. I don't know. There's no market for rare earths. It was ugly. But yeah, it's finished around about where these are. So and the banks recovered, but I think that was just a shift in just a money flow shift. Really, I don't think there's any reason to buy the banks. It's just it is what it is. But
don't forget the RBA is going to. I'm not too sure what the RBA is going to do when the market's pricing in a hike next Tuesday, and obviously the NIMs, that's going to hurt the NIMs for the banks if they can't pass it on. Yeah, but I'm sure they will.
Look, I can't see the RBA hiking, but I think they'll, because they get monthly CPI numbers now. Like it's not a big deal to wait a month. And there was a lot of international spending and blah blah blah. Like, but it's not going to. And February's a short month as well. I think we may get one in March, but 3.8% inflation is that's double the target. So, or nearly double the target. So, very different scenario from when that idiotic journalist said. I think 6 months ago, do you feel like you've betrayed the Australian public by not easing rates? And if I was Michelle Bullock, I'd be finding that's just the poorest of journalism ever. Despite the pullback, it's still up.
Is this updated? Is it?
Yeah. So this morning.
Yeah, it's still 110 at the end of the day. So it is up 20 odd percent. So while because gold hit 5,600 intraday. Silver hit, I think, 118 or 119. Just absolutely amazing moves. I think the one that's like slowly surprised me is crude. It's at $65, 64, 65 now, and it's hung in there. The last few, that $60 level kind of was, gone. Like I thought it would never get above that. And here we are at 65. So yeah, I think Trump wants that lower because obviously he wants the price of gas lower for to get re-elected in the midterms. And I think that's an indication that there could be some, as you said, there Trump does like to do things on the weekend. We could see some action. I haven't actually checked the Twitter accounts that follow the U.S. Army. But it'll be interesting to see if there could be something going down this weekend.
If you're going to statistically, if you're going to go off what's happened so far in 2026, he could declare war on two countries this weekend. and resolve it and give himself a pat on the back and nominate himself for a Nobel Peace Prize by Monday morning. So
That's true.
I could so I mean we're going to get to the list in a minute because the reason we called it Jampacked January is we were sort of thinking about a theme and then we just realised that basically what has happened this month alone is like it's the equivalent of it's the equivalent of almost a year or two. And some presidents don't do as much as he's done in the last 3 weeks in their entire freaking 8-year terms. So this was one stat thing that I did, and this bearing in mind, this was it's still 108. But yeah, so these are so I did the record 2-year gain and the second best 2-year gain, and then I averaged them out, and then so we still had 33% to go. So price to the average would be 144, but to be the second best rally in history, we busted through that. That was 110, and then platinum's still lagging badly. But then all they've got to do is start something with Russia, and platinum will double in about 3 days because it's the only place they can get platinum from. But yeah, like gold as well, obviously when it got up there would have been, I don't know, maybe 15% from the average of the two. The silver rally though, that 701% one back in 79.80 that's the Hunt Brothers squeeze. So if I'm going to be honest, like I reckon you should take 200% off that because there was someone pushing it on purpose, trying to corner the market, and then it obviously came back violently to the downside. And the Goldman Sachs head of precious metals
That's it.
is he'll be logging onto Seek.com and updating his LinkedIn profile this week because so the rumor is he was stopped out and marched out when that silver spike from 104 to 117 earlier in the week happened.
I'd be curious to see, what levels he started shorting at. Because it's usually banks have pretty good risk management, but they also do let traders a bit of leeway if they can convince them that you're.
Well, but it wouldn't have been a short period of time because we left at Christmas and it was $58.
Yeah, it was under 50
weeks.
it was under 50 at the start of December. So absolutely amazing move. So as I said, that's why I'm just curious, like what level did he start shorting at? And be curious to see what kind of size he was holding. But either way, he got walked. So
it's not the sort of job you resign from. And supposedly there's a YouTube video out there, but I don't know. I mean, you've been saying it for weeks. It's like someone there will be a bank that has capitulated on this, and that look, and maybe it could be for other reasons. I'm speculating. It's alleged, blah blah blah, legal reasons. But that was enormously coincidental that silver had like a 15%, 20% range in a morning session and a day, and then because it went 117.80 back to 103, back up again, and then literally that day, your precious metal head trader gets walked. Then it's 2 and 2 equal 4 in that situation.
That's the thing. So I mentioned that we've had 3 Six Sigma events on what are originally stores of value, and I remember the people kept arguing that the main problem with Bitcoin is that it's too volatile to be sound money. And here we are with here we are with gold, silver, and bonds doing Bitcoin-like moves, and you're like, oh yeah, and that's why I keep saying it's like, look, this is not normal markets. Like I'm waiting for the dead body to float to the surface. Like
that is the issue here. Like precious metals don't move like this.
Yeah, exactly. So
and this is the danger of him continually announcing new. So here's a list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first time anyone's kidnapped the sovereign nation's leader since World War II. He's he's said he hasn't, but he's launched a criminal investigation to try and get his Fed chair out.
Yeah.
Fed Powell's actually unprecedented. It fired back, which is the best ever. Go Team Powell. Got ICE agents, like, it wasn't just one shooting, it's two. There's videos of it. I mean, he bombed Syria last year. Iran's currency is devalued, and that's no coincidence that happened at exactly the same time as Venezuela. Now he's looking at going into military action with Iran. That was part of the reason gold spiked, because he made some off the cuff comment. He wants Greenland either by force or and then he turns around and does a deal with the EU.
Then had a deal. Yeah, I mean, like, don't forget Davos happened through all this as well.
Yeah, Davos as well. Like, I mean, Davos was massive. He tacoed, it was one of the best tacos in history. But the Venezuela thing, we all just went, oh wow, like that's pretty heavy. No one's done that since World War II. Maybe he won't taco this time, and he just got us. He got us again. Like, and of course he was going to taco. And look, we're only halfway through the list. Canada-China trade deals, UK-China trade deals, which he's got really crap. He's got really shitty about. Then he's tariffed South Korea, because I think they've done a deal. The EU-India free trade agreement as well. He's not happy about that. Precious metals, and then Kai brought this up as well. China is like, there's some internal chaos going on in China. Top generals, like, Jack Ma style, gone missing. Whether they come back in 3 months or not.
And according to Kai, they're like childhood friends. Like,
that's a good one. Old Z's getting some life coaching from Putin, I think. So, he does not agree with you. This is how you make him disappear.
Yeah, and the good old JGB spike and yen intervention as well. And I'm sure we've forgotten a few things as well.
Mate, it is. Oh no. So he's gonna slash Medicaid.
I forgot.
And as well, like, just bubbling on in the background is that if the Supreme Court get their, like, finally come to a decision, and I think they want to get the midterms for maybe out of the way. I don't know, and I don't see this going. But the Supreme Court
we forgot the shutdowns as well.
Oh yeah, the government shutdown, which is going to happen this weekend. God, we wouldn't have had enough room on this page. We would have made. Technically, that will be January. It'll just be this weekend. But the Supreme Court, because Trump's used a very niche wartime law to push these tariffs in place, and the Supreme Court's not 100% on whether they're legal or not, and because they should go through Congress, and so it really is a like, if there's no way they can unwind that. I don't see the Supreme Court ruling against him, but the fact that it's still up for if they were going to make a decision like that, it was like, oh, it's too far gone, then I thought they would have made a decision by now. But and even Trump said, if they reverse that decision, these are his exact words verbatim: America is screwed. Like, so it's pretty strong words from a president, even President Trump. So that's why we've got the golden bull and the silver bull burning some US dollars, because this idiot keeps talking in the background. And if February, we've got Aussie earnings, so February's going to be, and then we've got US earnings as well.
Here we
go.
Yep.
Microsoft. We've got AMD, Google, Amazon, Palantir next week. I mean, it's still a fair chunk of some big market cap, and then Nvidia later in the month. It's 2 rate decisions next week: ECB and RBA, and then payrolls Friday night. The foot's on the gas, and we're we may as well get I'm going to do. There won't be any rest next week, essentially. I don't think so. We'll. And I got to say, I'm pretty lost in terms of, like, what do you do here? Like, when the whole world can turn on its head at like a moment's notice, and precious metals are in the midst of the best 1 month, 1 year, like 1 week rally in history. It's not much cover there, right? Like, and we're coming into a weekend, so it's interesting times. But
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
mind Google for earnings, I got to say. But
Yeah, I'm
but yeah,
more. Look, I was bearish last week. It didn't eventuate, but as I said, like this whole precious metals move, the move in the bonds, the higher yields in the Aussie, in the US tens, the, you know, the equities market has been resilient so far, and I just have a funny feeling that this is going to crack, and obviously there will be dip buys eventually, but I just think we're due. I mean, like I thought it was going to happen in January, but yeah, I think it happens early February, and as we always say, like this market is computer driven now. So I just think that if a few key support levels get broken and a few technical indicators get turned negative, some of these algos will flip, and it'll be interesting to see how much momentum to the downside that you can gather from here. But either way, we shall see. But a lot of my clients, we made some good money on gold and silver. We've got plenty of cash on the sidelines. And just seeing what this market will bring us in terms of the next opportunity.
yeah. I mean, we're 6 to 7 or 5 to 6 times long gold miners, silver and silver platinum in structured investments with at least 7 months to 18 months, or maybe not 18 months, but like 15 months to go on both strategies. So we don't have to do anything there. But I mean, gold's up 19% this month. So like, and we've been heavy precious metals and silver and everything like that. So I mean, we're not the type to hang up our. But I mean, really, most, let me put it this way, fund managers who benchmark would sell everything right now and take 11 months off. So like,
Well, that's a smart thing to do. If you can get a year's worth of gains in that first month, why not lock it in?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll lock it in, but we don't
Well,
benchmark.
yeah,
We don't benchmark
we're
here.
different. We don't benchmark. Like I see opportunity ahead. But yeah, like if
But we can afford to sit on our hands for a bit now. That's for sure.
yeah. Well,
It
that's the
does
thing.
give you a certain sense of.
Yeah, it's great. We don't have to force trades from here, but I'm just saying, like, this volatility will continue. So I think there will be some good opportunities coming up.
Yeah, so cash is definitely a position. Oh, by the way, people, this weekend is the last opportunity to get your 1 month free trial with all the recommendations. So yeah, go to mosaicmbcmarkets.com.au and sign up for a free trial. We'll make sure you get all your recs, and then you'll have them for 4 weeks, or for the month of or up until you'll have them for the month of February for 30 days. And but you got to sign up I'm switching it off when I get in on Monday, basically. So
Yeah, you got.
it's when the special expires. So but we're really, really happy with the response. So we really only launched this thing proper and made a few adjustments, but there's more than 100 active users already, which I've been, so obviously people are finding it fairly easy to use, and well done to Mr. Kai Chen, who our tech extraordinaire. But and there will be a bunch of new features coming over the course of the next 12 months as well. We're integrating Air Wealth, which is your tax reporting and your tracking platform over the next few months. We'll have we're going to integrate some trading view stuff in there as well. And progressively over time, we'll just add more and more features, and suggestions are welcome. So yeah, but I just thought I'd bring that up. I'm lagging at the moment, obviously here on this new one. Actually, yeah, we didn't go back and check the tapes, but I'm positive I was bullish last week. But anyway, I'm
I mean,
just going to cop it.
well, either way, like if you want to change it for next week, yeah, this is the time to do it. But
No, I just think I'm a wise man who I work with named Jonathan Takadena once said markets don't like to move over earnings, and I think this is the last big week of earnings. So yeah, I don't think it's going up in a major way, but I just think I think Google and Tesla by far would be I think the best buys for the next 12 months. And Google reporting this week, and Amazon, there's a lot of advertising and stuff on Amazon and things like that. It'll just be enough to hang it in there. And then, but yeah, I think payrolls will be, I reckon payrolls is going to be a shocker. So,
really, wasn't the last one, okay? I mean, like, don't forget, it's like, how can you trust any government stats anymore?
No, because basically, I think Trump needs to incentivize the Fed to get rates down, and the numbers aren't really stacking up in his favour. Like 4.4% quarterly, 4.4% GDP growth. Like no central banks cut rates in the first world with 4.4% GDP.
And the amount of debt they have to roll over this year, it's enormous. So yeah, that's the biggest incentive they have, and that's why Trump has been on this bandwagon. I need someone in there that's going to follow instructions and get rates back down to zero.
And I just love the market's ability to shake the bears out, really. So I'm gonna go very, very unlike me, but given that list of things, but I just think the earnings everyone will wait for earnings, and then everyone will want to wait for payrolls. So it's like before any major thing happens. So, but look again, like we could invade 3 countries and then do a trade deal with them by then. So I think if I was being honest, do we have an I don't know? Because I categorically I don't know. So it's
what is surprising is that the fear and greed is in the greed area. I mean, like obviously the S&P is at record highs, but we've been hit at these levels before, and it's been a little bit more cautious. So yeah, interesting that the greed levels are quite high. So
yeah.
But either way, I think is that it for the slides?
I think that's it for the slide. If it's not, I'm calling it because I'm about to collapse in my chair.
But either way, thanks everyone for listening, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here. And January is definitely one for the record books, and I think February will be volatile as well.
All I can say is thank God it's only 28 days. So this is about it. I just couldn't. Yeah, it'll. It's been a big one. I don't think I'm 30 years this year in markets, and I've never seen anything like this in a January ever. Not even not even close to the GFC. Everyone just abandoned ship and just went on holidays in the GFC. This is just breakneck speed, both just back and forth all the time. So, because everyone's right, because you can be ultra bullish and ultra bearish in a week. So everyone thinks they're right at the moment. So, it's interesting. But anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. I hope you made some money, and I hope you've been on the precious metals rally. Shout out to Shane Davis. Go copper. It did get to 630 this week. But yeah, we'll try and find that next trade for everyone. And we'll speak again next week.
Thanks a lot.
General advice warning. The content presented in this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and provides general advice only. It does not take into account your personal objectives, financial situation, or specific needs. This information should not be the sole resource when making investment decisions. We strongly recommend you seek the advice of a financial professional.